Welcome to NuWu Sessions, where we invite guests from different corners of the Vegas cannabis industry. We sit down to share a VIP table package in Nevada's very first cannabis consumption lounge, only here in the Vegas Tasting Room. Come check us out.
Happy Veterans Day, NuWu fam. On today's episode, we asked Navy SEAL turned Director of Special Operations Grayson Bowman to come by and get high. Watch as we discuss Grayson's military experience, his current career, plus his future goals for the new veteran-created brand, KUNO. It's only here on NuWu Sessions, so let's get into it. Welcome back to NuWu Sessions, guys. I'm Tom.
I'm DJ. I'm a mess.
And this is what we do. This is the podcast where we invite guests to come by and get high. And
yes, sir.
On today's episode, we have Mr. Grayson Bowman from Flower One, man.
Yep,
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So much for coming on, brother. Yes, sir.
Did I botch your last name? Because I was just going off memory there. Did I screw it up?
Mine?
Bowman. I said
yeah.
Bauer. See, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm glad we addressed that from the front, so I didn't just go like 40 minutes on a podcast calling you the wrong name. So
we haven't even smoked yet.
Yeah.
We just started.
that's the problem. So
We're forgetting everything.
Right, for sure.
but yeah, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. We're going to definitely talk a little bit about Flower One and about KUNO, but let's get started here talking about these can of cocktails. We got some lovely beverages here. DJ, why don't you explain to the people at home what we got?
Yes, sir. My man Grayson has the wonderful, most consistent Arnold Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
I have your Shark Bite Brouhaha. And then my man Tom. The
Ocean water.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Ah, that's delicious.
Refreshing.
Grenadine.
Hell yeah.
Fire.
He said grenadine.
It's my go-to golf course drink.
There you go.
There you go. Nothing like an Arnold Palmer on a hot day, right? That's where the name comes from, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about golf, so
A little vodka in it. You got a John Daly.
There you go.
There you go. Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right on, man. Well, to get started, this is our Veterans Day episode. This is going to come out
sir.
just a few days after Veterans Day. So why don't you tell the people at home watching a little bit about your pre-cannabis career?
For sure. So I went to University of Arizona and graduated in 2006. And about 6 months after I graduated, I joined the Navy with the intention of going into the SEAL teams.
Crazy.
I went to Buds and didn't make it through the first time. So I had to go to the fleet for 2 years, spent some time at Defense Language Institute up in Monterey learning Arabic, and then went to a aircraft carrier up in Washington State, stationed there for about a year while I put in another package to go back to SEAL training. Got accepted, went back and made it through. First time, every time, the second time. And yeah, that was great. I was at SEAL Team 7 for about, about 7 years, from 10 to 17. Decided to get out of the Navy right around 2016. Didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got out, but just knew that it was time to do something else. It was either get out at the 10-year mark or stay in for 20.
Right.
And I was ready to try something new. So, I linked up with a bunch of nonprofits that help kind of team guys getting out of the military to find their next career path. So I'll plug them right now: the Honor Foundation, the SEAL Future Foundation, and one called Elite Meet. And they kind of helped me navigate that path, get a resume, kind of figure out my story and what I wanted to do. And they hooked me up with internship at Blackstone, which is a private equity firm out of New York. One of the biggest in the world. And that was an amazing opportunity. So I did 2 back-to-back internships with them with the intention of going to business school after. When the internships were up, they offered me a full-time gig. And so I said, let's do it. I don't want to go to business school anyway. And I was there for about 4 years until the pandemic hit. New York basically shut down, and I got the hell out of there and went back to the West Coast for a minute. I was working from home, so I could kind of be wherever I wanted to be. I was splitting time between Lake Tahoe and Santa Barbara, and then I went down to Costa Rica for about 3 months and was working from home down there, getting my surf in between my Zoom calls.
Why not?
And
That's the way to be working
yeah,
from home.
it was great. But while I was down there, Kellen O'Keefe, who's the CEO of Flower One, who's a longtime friend of mine, we've known each other since we were about 15 years old, probably one of the first guys I ever smoked weed with.
Wow.
Yeah. And he called me up, and he was actually one of the guys that I was reaching out to when I was initially getting out of the military, just to kind of figure out what everyone was doing, because I 10 years in the military, I kind of had my blinders on the whole time.
For sure.
100%
Tunnel vision.
And, he was at MedMen at the time, and then he came to Flower One and, took over as CEO in early 2021, called me and asked me if I wanted to come on and help out, and I was all about it. So moved out to Las Vegas a few months later, and here we are a year and a half from there, and launching KUNO and doing a lot of cool stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
That's a wild ride, especially 10 years. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously am not a military man, but I can't say I know a lot of people who could say they put in 10 years
Anywhere.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, it was
It's
an awesome
stoner,
opportunity. Loved every second of it. Made some great friends. So
For sure.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, first off, thank you so much for your service, brother.
Absolutely.
I mean, just you and everyone built like you, man. We truly appreciate it. What skill sets from the military actually helped you reach into this cannabis industry?
For sure. I mean, you guys know the cannabis industry is tough right now.
For sure.
So adaptability is key.
Yes, sir.
Performing under pressure, being comfortable, being uncomfortable is a big one. And then just leading from the front and being willing to be the leader or be the follower. You know. So if
That's
you
key.
yeah, exactly.
That's big key.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to get there. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. Have you always been a cannabis user, or is that a recent thing, or what's that like?
No, I like I said, I started smoking when I was about 15.
right.
Kellen was one of the first guys that I smoked weed with, and was a pretty regular smoker through college until I joined the military. Obviously, they have a pretty stringent drug testing policy, so I took a 10-year quasi hiatus.
Right.
No, I'm not going to say
Quasi.
I didn't. I had to leave, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So but it was crazy because I joined the Navy in 2007 when cannabis was still legal,
Right.
And then in that 10-year time span, everything changed.
100%,
So when I got out,
yeah.
it was 202017, and I was like, oh, now I can just go to the dispensary and do this,
Yeah,
and
it's
so,
accessible,
it was-
right?
Yeah, just crazy change and everything. So now, I had to learn a lot.
Well,
you go.
especially getting out of the military 2017, 3 years later than the pandemic.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a double learning curve right
it was
there.
a lot.
Yeah, right?
It was a lot.
Man.
Yeah, but good times.
So as a user, are you more on team sativa, team indica, team hybrid? What do you prefer?
I mean, I prefer a sativa probably just for the energy and creativity aspect. But I don't discriminate. I like it all.
Yeah, right. There you go. I like all weed as well. I mean, usually team indica, but that's the joke, right?
Yeah, I'm too sativa, but
Indica's at night.
Not on the podcast. Even though we'll see what we got today, because I think that's coming
I'm
down.
pretty
for
sure it's all indica again, but
We'll be sleeping here in about
There
half
you
an
go.
hour.
Well, okay. So as a user, what are you smoking at home? What are you like, a dabber, flower? What's your go-to?
I have always been a flower guy until I started working in cannabis. And my first dab I took, the first week I was here at Flower One, and since then I've been a big dab fan.
There you
so
go. There you go.
now it's pre-rolls, infused pre-rolls, and dabs.
for sure.
Occasionally a vape pen, if the timing's right.
Right.
Good thing we got infused pre-rolls.
Right,
So, man.
facts. So you had said that Kellen was kind of your bridge to Flower One. How did that all come about? Did you just give him up a call as soon as you got out, type of thing?
Yeah, so I started calling him in probably 2016. Like I
Nice.
said, just trying to figure out what all my friends were doing.
For sure.
I knew that Kevin's in commercial real estate, and Brad's in title, and this guy's in whatever, and Kellen's in cannabis. So I started
Right.
calling everyone and figuring out what everyone was doing. And Kellen and I had a good conversation. He connected me to a few other people, and the conversation kind of died out right there because I went to Blackstone
For sure.
and all that. But 4 years later, it ended up panning out. He called me up when he took over and
Nice.
asked me to come on and help him out. He needed people that he could trust in the facility, so I was more than happy to put my foot in the door and get after it.
Right, or why not? Why not? When you did come out of the military, especially diving into cannabis, was there any reservation of you joining that, or like mentally wise, just because you have been on this long hiatus, or was it just something you just wanted to venture into?
Yeah, I honestly, it just seemed like a great opportunity. An industry kind of in its nascency, still going through a lot of growing pains, a lot of room to run. Obviously, we're all dealing with the current market situation in Nevada, and the whole West Coast is kind of feeling that, and I'm sure
Coast
the
going
East
up.
Coast will be feeling it soon.
Yes, for sure.
But it's a great industry, and I think obviously we're a little bit of ways away from federal legalization, but
Right.
I think that's a goal for everyone. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it's been fun.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
sir.
You're just getting started at the end of the day, right?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
It's fun.
Well, I mean, speaking of getting started, why don't we show them why we legalized our portion?
Amen.
We're going to bring in one of our servers here. He'll bring in one of our VIP packages. It includes a JBD bong that is autographed and numbered by the artist himself. We have a tray, rolling tray, grinder, hammer pipes, infused pre-rolls like Tom said, and then we also have an eighth of KUNO as well.
And we also got ashtrays because those are important, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hard to smoke weed if you don't got the tools for the job, you know?
Not like we haven't forgot those on a couple episodes before.
Yeah, thank you for our diehards for
get a
noticing. So yeah, I mean, to that effect, we do have 3 infused pre-rolls here. We got the KUNO 8. We got cones for stuffing. This actually, I was playing with this earlier. I'm like, oh, this is fun. Why is there a Rubik's Cube? And it's an extra nerdy one with 4 panels on it. But I learned that this is a fucking grinder.
It's a grinder.
That's awesome.
It took me a while, but that's fun. So we can use that. We got cones for stuffing. We got these JBD hammer pipes. So we got all types of ways to smoke weed, man. How do you want to get started?
Let's do a pre-roll.
Cool, man. We got right there on the other side. I got one at each of us. We don't share pre-rolls here. This is kind of the rule of the lounge, you know what I mean?
Still feeling that
to each their own.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry, though, too. You know what I mean? It takes one bad example.
You don't know where I've been.
Yeah. Pandemic taught us it's puff puff keep, not puff puff
That's
pass.
exactly like this is my joint. If anything, the pandemic taught us that like our tolerance is higher than we need to be. So I might as well have this whole joint. You know?
Why not? Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Cool. Yeah, I always tap my joints. That's me.
And I
Got
always
that here for you,
forget.
brother.
Sorry.
I don't know. I just like look now. I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera, but I see like a good little pocket there of air. You know, that's why I like tapping mine beforehand. But
Smart.
so since you've been with Flower One, you said about a year and a half now, right?
I have, yeah. I joined in May or June of 21.
Gotcha. So describe your role and what you're doing for the company.
Yeah. So my role is Director of Special Operations,
Nice.
which is kind of like a concise way of saying I do a little bit of everything. Came on initially kind of more in an ops role, helping out in the facility. But over time, I just kind of gravitated to where we needed more help, and that was on the sales side.
For sure.
And then obviously because of my military background, they tagged me with heading up our security team. So, we had a third-party security team at the facility. We got them and let them go and brought it in-house.
For sure.
But yeah, sales and security right now are my main roles.
Right. Well, I mean, I've been told by a few of our staff members, Tom included, that KUNO actually does have a great story or message that it's pushing. Do you want to let the customers at home know what is the story behind KUNO?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, I was in the military, so I have a big place in my heart for people in the military and cannabis as well, and educating people in the military about cannabis, because a lot of people or a lot of veterans, they've been in the military for X amount of years. It's been, not only illegal, but it's a career ender if you pop for marijuana in the service.
Right.
So I think it's kind of got a bad connotation for a lot of people in the military, and when they get out, they don't understand how beneficial it could be to a lot of their ailments.
Yeah, for
PTSD, opioid addiction, alcoholism, TBI, all that kind of stuff. So with that in mind, we wanted to kind of position KUNO as like a friend and a partner to veterans, and really focus on the educational piece and getting cannabis into the hands of veterans at a very affordable price, or sometimes free.
Right.
So we didn't want we went through a couple iterations of the name and the branding, but we didn't want it to be like overtly military. We didn't want like the packaging to look like a freaking ammo can or something.
Right.
So I've always
Would have
been
been cool though.
It
No,
would
just-
maybe do that for the next one.
Right.
But sorry. Yeah, we. Sorry, I lost my train of thought when I was hitting.
No,
that.
that's a testament to the motivators here.
But yeah, so obviously it's named after a military working dog who won the highest award that a military working dog can receive, and for actions he had in Afghanistan. And I've always been a dog lover, and with the whole position itself as a friend and partner, we thought the dog aspect would be great for the branding.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That makes a total sense.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, especially because just as you said, you have the military background, but if you can have the animal thing too, you can have a broader reach and a broader appeal, right?
100%.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So how long has KUNO been live now?
So we launched at the end of June with the Matthew Axelson Foundation Golf Tournament up in Genoa, Nevada. So we sponsored that and got some product up into a few stores up there, and then we've kind of been slowly rolling it out into more stores. So I think we're in 10 stores now, including obviously NuWu. So much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And, just going to expand from there. So I think we got a lot of room to run, potential to launch a few more SKUs. But right now we wanted to start with flower, get our name out there,
sure.
let people understand what we're trying to do and actually do it before we really kind of ramp up.
For sure.
That makes sense. Got to walk before you can run.
Right, for sure. And speaking of which, especially for the major potheads at home, what are some of your key strains that you guys do sell? I know right now it is
We got
have
some of
Roadblock.
this. Roadblock.
Yep.
Roadblock
That's
is
it,
really
yeah.
fire. I've had
I like
it
the
before.
Roadblock. Yeah, it's one
Really,
of my
really
favorites
great
that
hybrid.
we're putting out right now. So Roadblock, OJ18. I think we got some Alien OG, some Star Dog, Starberry. But we're trying to find the right kind of terpene profile to kind of match up with things that veterans want, which is kind
For
of like
sure.
a calming effect and stuff that doesn't produce anxiety.
Right.
Right.
Which
Definitely
makes
more on that
sense.
team indica side of things. Need some linalool, some myrcenes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah,
That's
perfect. We
exciting.
didn't start with that.
No, we started with motivators, so
It's even worse.
yeah, that's good. That's good though.
It's fine.
Well, that's cool. How's the reception been so far since you guys have been live?
It's been really good. We've done launches at like Cookies Flamingo, Hardin, and a couple other places, and I've obviously am there when that happens, and we talk to all the veterans, and it's just a very, very good response. And we've even had veterans come in with their partners that don't smoke weed.
Right.
And have talked to them about it and gotten them to buy some weed for the first time.
Hell yeah.
So I think it's good, just getting that education piece out there, letting them know that there is another alternative other than, what they've been doing their whole lives to, combat these mental ailments that some people can come out of the military with.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. What have you seen the market evolve through over the years, especially being in this game a little while now?
Yeah, so I've been in a year and a half, so not that long.
Oh, I see.
But I mean, I think, obviously we've come a long way in a very short amount of time.
For sure.
We have the cannabis lounges here in Nevada.
Yes, sir.
But that being said, there's a lot of significant headwinds that we're seeing. We're heavily taxed, heavily regulated, which causes us to, it takes a longer time to get the product to market.
Right.
And I think until we see, federal legalization, we're going to be a lot of people are going to be it's hard to turn a profit right now because of all the taxes and regs.
Absolutely.
And until, that kind of gets figured out or alleviated, I think we're all going to be kind of in survival mode for
For a little while.
yeah, for a little while. But I mean, it's good. We're in the nascency of the industry,
Right.
and things are evolving and changing, and it's going to get better. So
For sure.
yeah.
I mean, it's. I think we've said this several times on the podcast now too. It does feel like that in the cannabis space. Gabe Lopez described it as dog years, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every year feels like several years encompass it because
Right, for
so
sure.
much changes so quickly. Because I've been in going on 6 years now, and
Yeah.
just I can think of every single moment in time. It's like, man, that feels like 10 years ago, like it just feels so long ago, like in 2017 when everything hit a roadblock because they didn't have the transportation figured out, you know?
Right.
I feel like with the consumption lounge issue, it is going to be another one of those like points in time, where it's like everyone remembers when the consumption lounges went live and X happened,
Yep.
so.
Step in the right direction.
Yep. But I do feel that, it is still, that's a testament to the newness of the industry and, the
Right.
maturity therein.
Exactly.
So I think we are making some strides in the
I
right
agree.
direction,
I agree.
Everyone always starts with distillate and they end with rosin, right? That's,
Yeah.
that's kind of how these
Yeah.
things go.
Exactly.
So we're
Exactly.
getting there.
We're about to
Yeah.
get locked rosin as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, awesome.
Hey.
That's
Gotta be-
beautiful.
Just got approved by the state, so that should be
That's
here
cool.
in a month or two.
That's very exciting. Is that under
Hell yeah.
KUNO specifically or is that one of the
It
other
may
brands?
be under KUNO, but we're
Still,
definitely
TBD.
launching with an NLVO and
Cool.
one of our other brands.
Ooh, that's
Smooth,
exciting.
smooth.
Can't wait. I'm actually.
Hell yeah.
There we
I'll
go.
be, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Southfield, love that.
All right. Hopefully we'll have you here at the lounge too.
Yeah, right?
Tap in.
So, I mean, we mentioned this a little bit. For KUNO, you guys said you're looking at some other products you're developing and things like that. Is there anything we can talk about?
Sure, yeah. We are in the works to launch a pre-roll multi-pack, which will just be single strain flower. We are looking at doing something with rosin, possibly like a vape pen.
Oh, very nice.
And then we're also working with a couple. We're interviewing breeders and also veterans, just to kind of canvass them to see what profile of terpenes works for them, and what breeders can get that profile to us.
Right.
So,
No, that makes sense.
Preferred Gardens is one of the ones that we're talking to right now, and then some other legacy cannabis breeders.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, too, how we were talking about how free weed, or ways we can give back to our veterans. Can we talk about that? Is there any ways you guys are giving back in the community, even though we are still kind of a new brand, right?
We are a new brand. Yeah. For all of our launches, we've been penning out a half ounce with any KUNO purchased in the store. So
Wow.
that's one of the ways we're doing that. It's not going to be an everyday thing, but
course.
it's definitely kind of something that we're going to continue doing.
For sure. Shout out to the veterans, man.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
take care.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
There's a lot of veterans that can't afford cannabis because of all the heavy taxes and regs that are on it. Once the product gets to the retail store, the price is pretty expensive.
Right.
And the other headwind that we're facing is that's causing people to turn to the illicit market, and we don't want that. So we'd like to get get weed into the hands of vets for as cheap a price possible and sometimes free.
That's amazing, man.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's a good program right there. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Testament to your mission statement, everything you guys are trying to build.
For sure.
So that's awesome.
Speaking of mission, where do you see KUNO in the next 5 years? Is there any goals specifically you guys are trying to hit at a mark, or is there something that might be under wraps that we
So,
could
I mean, I
break
think,
on here?
yeah, I think, we want to be recognized as a player in the Nevada market first. And
For
we
sure.
want the veteran community to get behind us and support us. And the way we can do that is by getting behind them and supporting them.
Right.
So we're trying to find ways to do that right now. We partnered with a company called Heaven Can Wait. And it's it's a veterinarian clinic essentially, and we are offering veterans with service dogs to go in and have their dogs get a head to tail checkup for free.
Wow.
First 50, I think it's first 50 or 100 veterans. I gotta check that, but
Crazy.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
so that's one of the things that we're doing, and we're looking at doing more things like that, helping out in the community. And
Hell yeah, man. That's
but
amazing.
in 5 years, I think we want to launch a few more SKUs for sure.
Of course.
And we're definitely as an organization we're looking at opportunities in other states, and we could potentially look at licensing as well. So,
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's a good plan. That's I wish you guys the best of luck in everything you're trying to do. I think you got a
1000%.
beautiful mission statement and a solid plan, moving forward in the future. So
And really, we'd like to start partnering with larger nonprofits, but really nonprofits here local to Nevada. Like I said, we partnered with the Seal Future Foundation, and we did sponsorship for the Matthew Axelson Foundation. But we'd really like to get something in Vegas. We just haven't found a partner yet. So if anyone's out there,
Right.
please reach out to me. You can find my information, I think, on this podcast.
absolutely. I mean, to that point, that was going to be the next question. Where can the people find you? Where can they find KUNO? Why don't you let the people know?
Yeah, so KUNO, I mean, you can obviously find it here at NuWu, Hardin, Silver State Relief, Cookies Flamingo, Oasis, Las Vegas Relief, Greenleaf Wellness, Vegas Tree House.
Hey.
There you go. Lots of accounts there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you guys growing in a rapid fashion.
Yeah. I mean, small orders at first, but hopefully we'll get some, support behind it and move some product.
Absolutely.
sure.
That's the name of the game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to give out to anybody that is trying to grow in this industry?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone can kind of, slap a brand on something and have a funny name and go out there and sell some weed. But I think, having a purpose behind it and, giving back to the community is important, and it's going to give you a lot more, joy out of just trying to make that dollar. And also, the industry's tough, but it's also wide open. So if you are creative and you want to get after it, come sell some weed.
Right. For sure.
It's the name of the game. I say it every single day. Let's sell some weed, guys.
Right.
Well, if that's one thing that I can say that I have learned from this episode is that one thing that KUNO is intentional. Everything that I've heard from you and even your previous experiences has always been about your intention. And as long as your intentions are great, I believe you're going to do great things. And make sure you come out and buy some KUNO, man. And I'm a big fan now, for sure.
Absolutely. Where can they find KUNO on socials, websites? Where's all that live?
Yeah, so at KUNO Cannabis or KUNO.cannabis is our Instagram. And I think we have a website, but it's not up and running yet. So it'll be
Gotcha.
up soon.
Cool. If that's live before this episode goes live, you can probably find it in our bio. Make sure we attach everything accordingly. I think that was pretty much everything we had.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Smoked that
sir.
weed. We got good and high. I think we still got room for a dab, though. If you're down for a dab at the bar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
for sure.
All right,
Oh,
well,
for
let's
sure.
make this man
We're
a dab.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll take you off. We'll set you off a blast off.
Hell yeah. And so we do this, man. We'll appreciate you coming on the podcast. We
No,
greatly
thanks for having me.
appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
It's
it.
been a
Yes,
good
sir.
one.
Appreciate the support. You guys
Yes,
have always
sir.
been a very big support of us, so thank you.
Absolutely, man.
And thank you to everyone out there who does.
Hell yeah. We'll keep it up.
All right.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
We
NuWu Sessions, we out of here.
Thank you.
Now let's do dabs about it.
Yeah.
What up, NuWu fam? Thanks for watching NuWu Sessions. Just want to remind you, you need to hit that little subscribe button right down there. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. And the bell next to it too, so you get notified every time we got new stuff. So let's get back to the episode. Thanks for watching.